Hi, David. Love the show. Tom from Chicago. Is there a limit on what a team can trade a player for cash? Meaning, could the Pirates trade Paul Skeens for like $120 million? So it's like a transfer fee in the European League? Regardless of that answer, how is cash considerations treated for each team's salary cap when there's such a trade? Thanks. Love the show.
Well, thank you, Tom from Chicago. You just struck quite a nerve with me. What's the name of the player, Coca, that just came out yesterday where it will be the largest transfer fee in Major League Soccer? And I believe he's a former Tottenham guy. Is he one of your favorite players, Coca? And what was the amount of money? $25 million or something? What an unbelievable bit of business that I always wanted to be a part of. Speaking of Jack McKeon worked for an owner called Charles Finley back when Jack was managing the A's, back when they were the Oakland A's and not the Aths. Charlie Finley did something, I want to say in the 70s, Coca, where Charlie Finley got in the business of selling players. Major League Baseball did not like that, and Major League Baseball changed the rules after that. Rules that exist to this day. That any time there's an exchange of more than $1 million in any trade for a player, the commissioner has to approve that trade himself. And I don't mean calling the deputy commissioner. I don't mean calling the head of labor. I don't mean calling the head of baseball operations. I mean the commissioner gets on the phone with you and says, I approve or I don't approve. My question always was, why? Why can't I, if I have Paul Skeens and I've got money issues where I've got debt that I want to pay down because I want to open up payroll for the next player, because there's always a next player. I tried to convince Bud Selig, and after Bud Selig, Rob Manfred. How is it that you are going to penalize my greatest way to equality? My greatest way to equality is to get a talent, to add value to that talent, and then to monetize that talent. And you may say, David, you sound diabolical. These are human beings you're talking about. That's true, but they're the product. The equivalent, I used to say, is how is it that I could find a company, invest in the company, the stock goes way up, and all of a sudden I'm told I can't sell. And I don't mean because I'm an officer where it's restricted stock, where the value of the stock comes because of something that I did and it's a public company and we can't have that sort of nefarious activity without disclosures. I'm talking about you being just a normal shareholder where you add value only because you're there and you bought a stock. Now, you could argue that when I identify a pitcher, or I'm part of an organization that does, or a position player, and I identify that position player at a low level, at a young age, at a low value, and then all of a sudden that player becomes significantly greater, I don't see the problem. Japanese players are posted to Major League Baseball all the time. There are rules in place for how much money the team can get, how much money the player can get. The union's argument is, hold on, if the Marlins got, or the Pirates get $120 million for Paul Skeens, then the Yankees, whoever is paying the Pirates, won't have enough money to pay Paul Skeens. Well, I've got another suggestion when it comes to these transfer fees. Why is it that you can't have a deal with the player and the team? My view is that if you can get a deal together where you have a player and you can sell that player to another team, where that player gets a contract that that player deserves, but the team also gets a sum of money, that should be allowed. Why would a big market team pay over market for a player? Because they do it all the time. And if part of the payment not just goes to the player, but goes to the team as well, the commissioner should like that. It's another form of revenue sharing. It's another way to make things equal. And don't give me the argument that it can't be equal if Paul Skeens is on a big market team. It can't be a good league where a small market team doesn't have the ability to keep this superstar or that superstar. We've actually discussed this, including yesterday. And I've always told you there's always the next player. Falling in love in the front of the jersey, that's what makes the most sense, not the back of the jersey. If you have a situation where you can lessen the financial gap between two teams, two franchises in your league, and you can do it with a reallocation of assets, why wouldn't you? I am passionate about it because I've spoken to people on both sides. I've been on one side. I can't tell you I've been on the Yankees side, but I sure as heck fire can tell you I've been on the Pirates side. And when I tell you what I could do with $120 million to make our team in a totally different financial position, not just over this year, but over the next 5 years, and what it would mean to our team, not just to have the payroll capacity, but to have the debt capacity, what it would mean to have your capital expense fund actually full of money, meaning that you can improve your stadium. You can do things that help the fans give you more money to improve your revenue. Anything that you can do to become healthier, you should be allowed to do. The whole purpose of having assets is to increase their value. You really, really hit a nerve there. I do appreciate asking the question, but I'll tell you that, in my opinion, that rule is not going to change because I've never been able, and no one's been able to convince the commissioner or the union that Charlie Finley's actions by selling players, it will do nothing but increase the gap between the haves and the have-nots. No one's been convinced of it the other way. I will keep trying. I promise you.